I was just lecturing to a group of third-year medical students at the University of California, where I'm on the faculty. And I was reminding them, I was telling them that, in Western medicine, we're not often taught that as a doctor, you should be the embodiment of health. I was reminded of one of my professors, who was the director of pulmonary medicine, who used to literally smoke during x-ray rounds, while we would be looking at x-rays of people with lung cancer or bronchitis. And so to really create abundance in your life, there has to be that authenticity in your life, that your dedication to your own well-being will shine through in everything you do. And that anyone who sees you, even if you don't say a word for a while, will say, gosh, what are you doing? I want some of that. So abundance is key. Abundance means being able to master the world of the material, which means everything that we normally perceive is out there, but also our own physical body. It means making that commitment to our own health, eating healthy, exercising regularly, reducing the ingestion of toxic substances, getting enough rest every night, being vibrant in every element of our being, so that that energy of the universe can flow through us without impediment. There's a sweet story that I heard recently about this man was walking on the path, and he saw this saintly being. And it was clear that the man who was walking was having some hard times. So the saintly being said, I have some food. Would you like to have lunch with me? And the guy said, yes, I would love to. So he sits down, and when the saintly man opens his bag, the other man sees that there's a gem, a big gemstone sitting in his bag. And so he starts plotting how he could get that stone from that guy. And he's manipulating in his mind that he's not too strong, and probably right before he leaves he could grab the bag. And so as the saintly man opens his bag again to put away the dishes, he sees that the other guy is looking at that stone. He says, oh, I see you're really paying a lot of attention to that stone. And the guy says, yeah. So he says, would you like it? And he says, well, yes. He says, okay, here, you can have it. So the guy is just filled with enthusiasm for this newfound abundance. And as he says goodbye to the saint, part of him is thinking, what an idiot. This guy just gave away this gem that's worth, $50,000. And on the other hand, he's just totally excited about how now all of his material problems have been taken care of. Saintly man goes on his way. But a couple days later, this guy comes back. He says, I've been thinking a lot about this. I was thinking about how you were able to just give me that stone. And what I realized is I don't really want that stone. What I want is whatever you have that allowed you to give me that stone with such freedom. That's the definition of abundance. So go for the highest, and you'll see money will be pouring through your system, but it's not the most important thing. There's a Vedic story. It says that there are two goddesses. These just represent archetypal energies, not like something outside of ourselves, but just psychological symbols within our mind. So there's the goddess Saraswati, who's totally dedicated to wisdom. She's the goddess of wisdom. And then there's the goddess Lakshmi, which is totally dedicated to wealth. So the question often is, do you worship Lakshmi or do you worship Saraswati? Saraswati being the goddess of wisdom. And the answer is, well, you can worship Lakshmi, but at a certain point, she'll take you for granted. But if you worship Saraswati, if you go for wisdom, Lakshmi gets jealous, and to try to seduce you, she'll throw all of her wealth at you. So always go for that highest value. Always go for wisdom. So that's the first. That's the first. Artha. Artha. Just say it in your mind. It's kind of a milestone, a goalpost, that it's one of the things we want to go for, but when we think about abundance, we think about big bandwidth, lots of energy flowing through us. The second is kama, which at its core it means love. Love is an amazing word, actually, because it's used in more contexts than almost any other word in any language. My 6-year-old loves her teddy bear. My 10-year-old loves Hannah Montana. A 17-year-old loves their new car. You love your job, you love your house, you love your spouse, you love your partner, you love your work, you love your boat. So we use that word in a lot of different ways, but what does it mean? What's the underlying unifying principle of love. And the principle, when you think about it, is always this principle of unity, that the part connects to something bigger than itself, and through that connection, the part feels happier, feels more complete. So that when a little kid loves their toy, it's because through that connection with the toy, they feel safer. When someone loves a pop star, it's because through that connection, they feel bigger. And so we want you to love this community, because through this community, we can create something that by ourselves we couldn't create on our own. Love has different expressions based upon our level of identity. So when our level of identity is primarily our physical body, we connect through touching, through affection. Because when you're by yourself, there's a sense of alienation, isolation, loneliness. But as soon as you touch somebody, there's a sense of connection. When we're thinking of life on a more emotional level, we connect through revealment, through telling things about ourselves to other people that is sharing a deeper level of intimacy. So, when you first meet somebody, you show them the side that you think they want to see, because all of us are multifaceted beings. But if they look at that side and they say, yeah, I can accept that side, then we say, well, how would you like to see this other side of me? And our best friends, the people that we really deeply love, are those that we know they love us because of or in spite of everything that we are. Being authentic with both your light and your dark, both your strengths and your vulnerabilities, it doesn't make you weak. It makes you whole. And there's nothing more compelling in the world than people who have owned their authenticity. Because when you own the fact that we're all multidimensional, that every one of us can be powerful and vulnerable, we can all be generous and stingy, we can be courageous and we can be cowardly, then all judgment melts away from us. And there's nothing more attractive to the world than someone who can accept you for your common, simple humanity. When we add silence, to human love, it brings us to another level. It's the level of compassion. And so one of the things we're going to be encouraging you as you do the breakout sessions with David G. and with Max is to start bringing even just a few minutes a day of silence in your life, that self-reflective state through meditation or relaxation techniques where you can quiet down, have a much more expanded state of awareness, and in that connection to that deeper dimension, your level of comfort with your own state expands, and the ability to radiate that comfort to everyone that you interact with also expands. So we strongly encourage you to start now getting into that practice of taking time to go deep into your own quiet state of being. Classically in Ayurveda, they use the metaphor of the archer, where in order to hit the target, the archer pulls back on a bow, gets completely still, gets clear, gets certain on the target, and then from that position of stillness, when you release the arrow, the target is always hit. And so by cultivating silence with our normal human desire for connection, we raise to that next level, which is compassion. And when in your heart there's a genuine sense of compassion for the people in your family and your community who are looking for more well-being, then when you have the conversation around ZRII and the other elements of Ayurveda, it'll be irresistible. So that's the second principle, the principle of karma. The third principle is dharma. Dharma means purpose in life. And the basic principle in Ayurveda says that nothing is an accident. Everything is synchronistic. Everything is part of this global plan. That ultimately each one of us is a cell in the ecological body. And just like a healthy body where every cell is doing its job, when each individual dharma, each individual purpose is being expressed, not only does the individual feel good about itself, but it makes a contribution to the totality. So in the body, a liver cell isn't thinking, how come I'm doing all this work at detox where that brain cell is just thinking all the time? The liver cell, the kidney cell, the spleen, the brain cell, the bone cell, they're all doing their dharma, they're doing their purpose. But by doing what they're good at, their natural talent, not only are they serving themselves, but they're serving the totality.